We're here with Laterras R. Whitfield at Dr. Cindy Trimm's In Your Year Strong Summit. Whitfield is the host of Dear Future Wifey podcast on Instagram and is a three-time regional Emmy-nominated filmmaker, a national playwright and director, foster and adoption advocate, and most importantly, a servant of God. Laterras, you are a very successful podcaster. Your show is titled Dear Future Wifey Podcast. How does this happen?
Well, the Dear Future Wifey podcast was launched in 2020, April the 15th, at the heart of the pandemic. God told me to make myself my client. At first, I was shooting content, have a video production company, so I was shooting content for my clients. And then God said, make you your own client. And so I decided to turn the camera on myself. I took it as an opportunity to heal in front of the world. I had been divorced at that time about 5 years, and my desire to get remarried again told me that I couldn't remarry being the same guy as I was in my previous marriage. So I want to heal openly, heal out loud, and so I created the moniker of my podcast, Journey With Me, as I discover, uncover, and recover love. And in that process was having conversations with different people, single, married, those that have been divorced, so that I can become a better man and take these gems from these different interviews to help create this quilt in my love story.
Tell us how you built your business and how receptive were men to your podcast.
So when I launched this podcast, I didn't look at it as an opportunity to get other people's buy-in. I looked at it as being my own personal journey. So this is my own personal journal, if you would. So this became my online diary. So at first, when I started doing this podcast, of course, you start looking at the numbers on YouTube, and I'm like, man, I only got 400 subscribers. Maybe people don't really care about what I'm talking about. But I began to continue to recommit myself. And God spoke to me one moment and said, despise ye not the day of small beginnings. And I said, okay, that's all I need to hear to become consistent in what I was doing. Being an entrepreneur, I wasn't really consistent in a lot of things. You know, I'm gonna wake up when I feel like it, do whatever that job is that I decided to do that day or whatnot. But this was the first thing that I had to become consistent with in my own business. And so I said, let me go ahead and become consistent, do these interviews weekly, and in that consistency, God began to reward it. Because YouTube, the way YouTube works, is YouTube rewards consistency as well. If they see you always putting content out there, then they're gonna start recommending it. And so that's what happened. And so people started watching it. Of course, my following, my subscribers, about 83% women, but men started dialing in and listening to the podcast as well. They'll meet me on the side of the street, or even at this conference, they walked up to me and said, man, thank you for putting this content out there, because it's not, having men heal wasn't normalized. And so that's what the Dear Future Wifey podcast represented.
How many subscribers do you have now?
I started off at 100 subscribers. 100 subscribers is when you can get your vanity URL on YouTube. So that was my goal. Now I'm at 459,000 subscribers and 1 million combined social media following worldwide.
Well, Laterras, let's be real. Entrepreneurship is not easy. How did you stay encouraged during your journey? And what were some of the roadblocks and obstacles you had to overcome along the way?
The way I stayed encouraged during this entrepreneurial journey is, it's an old song that they used to sing called Encourage Yourself. And so I would encourage myself along the journey. And then I got a lot of joy from my subscribers. I call them the Lit fam. I say we live intentionally and transparently, so that's lit. That's how I coined the moniker Lit. And so I would get a lot of people that would say, man, keep doing what you're doing. If I miss out doing an episode that Wednesday, they would hit me up and say, hey, man, how am I going to function today? Because I don't have an episode to chew on today. I need your wisdom. I need your insight. So my followers, my subscribers, I call them my fellow love journeymen, would weigh in and encourage me along the way. And then as I start seeing the numbers climb, it started giving me a sense of validation to say, people are definitely in need of what I'm offering to the world. And so, yeah, the journey is, for a couple of years, I wasn't making much money. You know, I was making maybe a couple of $1,000s a month off of YouTube. You know, that has grown tremendously. so that has grown tremendously. And so the reality has been just be consistent whatever you have that you feel passionate about. If you don't have passion, there will be no productivity. If you don't have passion, there will be no productivity. So whatever you're passionate about, people don't have to force you to do. You'll do it, when you're not getting paid anything. Because truthfully, it was so many seasons, like I said, about 2 years where I wasn't making much money at all doing it.
Laterras, what does living an abundant life mean to you?
Living an abundant life, what that means to me is the ability to tap into your purpose, whatever that is. So abundance means something totally different for different people. Abundance a lot of times we liken that to finances. But if you talk to the man that is filthy rich, but he doesn't have abundant health, then at the end of the day, he doesn't feel like he's living an abundant life. So I would say whatever it is that you feel passionate about, the things that you feel like you've been called to do, the things that wake you up in the morning, your purpose, what you believe that God placed you on this earth, fulfilling that purpose is living the abundant life.
Well, Laterras, we're here at Dr. Cindy Trimm's EYYS Summit, Gaining Perspective for 2024. How did you end 2023?
How I intend to end my year strong is being at this conference. I'm doing the Dear Future Wifey podcast live here. To feel validated by such a powerhouse as Dr. Cindy Trimm, for her to allow my platform to coexist with hers is such a God wink for me, because it's showing not only that I'm validated by God, but other people in this same space, that their intentions are to help heal the world, that my light is shining even in their sight. And so I'm ending my year strong. This is my last event that I'm doing in 2023, and I'm ending it on a big level.
In this moment, what is a scripture that applies?
The scripture that comes to mind is, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. That has been the moniker for my life, has been the soundtrack in times where I've grown weary in my well-doing. I've always said, okay, God, now God, I can't do this. And God said, cool, put me in, coach. So it's like God is now my coach in my life, and has always been, where in moments where I grow weary, then I put God in the game, and he's able to conquer anything that I allow him to empower.
Thank you, Laterras Whitfield, host of the Dear Future Wifey podcast, for spending time with us here on Be Lifted Up Radio.
To God be the glory.
And listen, everyone, you can catch his podcast on YouTube, and also follow him on Instagram and TikTok at Laterras R Whitfield. That's LaterrasRWhitfield. And also on Facebook at Laterras R Whitfield.